Buckle up for another season of Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun, as always, is my brother in podcasting, Reed.
I'm just going to try and pull up I want to, look at this season. I want to look at how this season looks like when it starts. I'm just going to pull it up on my phone.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm typing in Season 4 Supernatural, show me what it looks like. Oh, no.
Oh, my eyes. No, God, you turn back.
No, my eyes.
Oh, let's get into it.
Ghostfacers! We visit ghosts, where others will not, we're ghosts! Ghostfacers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot! Ghostfacers! We visit nightmare, we visit dread! Ghostfacers! We visit faceless, we visit dead!
Welcome to Ghostfacers. Today we're discussing Season 4, Episode 1, Lazarus Rising.
Fuck yeah.
Oh! And today, of course, because this is a weird runner that Kyle has signed up for the next 7 years, we have Kyle Clark.
Hey.
Kyle, whose task is to bomb in and only watch the season premiere.
I'm going to be honest. 4 seasons in, 0 regrets. One of the better podcasting decisions I've made. And I'm going to let that just hang in the air.
Wow. Here's the thing, too, is that now people are now emailing us, like our fans are going, but I really want Kyle to also jump in for this episode.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Oh, have I several times now thought I would love to watch some Supernatural right now? 100%. Every time I watch the single episode and I just get that teeny little morsel, I'm like, I can't. I must continue to Supernatural edge.
Well, see, this is
in 7 years you can go back and watch.
This is where I was going with this. How many season premieres do you think we're going to get in before Kyle has to Supernatural bust and just watch it?
Okay, well, I have a theory on that. I have a little light plan.
Okay. Sure.
When we get to, so we're 15 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when we get to about season 7, right?
Yeah.
Everything season 7 or before becomes open season.
Sure.
I may not watch ahead, but I could fill in some of that stuff if I feel like it. But I've got to get through 7 of these bastards first. And it's a shame because each one I watch, I'm just like, God, I really do love this show. Spoiler alert.
What's funny is that, that's the perfect time to do it.
It's the exact show I've been looking for recently. I'm like, I need something fun, but that I don't have to hardcore pay attention to, but that has a pretty consistent tone that never gets too TV angsty, which I just cannot accept anymore as entertainment. So this seems perfect. So I'm like, in 3 years when I can finally watch the first 7 seasons, this is going to be great.
Yeah, it's X-Files that doesn't take itself seriously. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
So this episode aired September 18th, 2008. So we're in the same year as we were for the previous season still. Right. This was, of course, much like the finale for the previous season, written by Eric Kripke and directed by Kim Manners.
Right.
Here's the thing. This was viewed by... Can you guess how many people viewed this?
I want to say that the number went up.
Sure.
But I bet the number went down.
Well, you'd be wrong because the number went way the fuck up.
Really?
This was viewed by an estimated 3.96 million viewers.
Whoa, that's like a full million more. Yeah.
And that in modern TV standards is people would kill their family for that. Like network television would be like the whole family with an axe. All I got to do is chop them up. We can get 3 million viewers on this.
I know it's so funny. It's so funny to go from 50 million people watch the finale of Friends to like the CW being like 900,000 people watch the 8th season of Flash.
Wrap your mind around. Like think about this: 70 million people watched an average episode of Happy Days a week.
That's crazy. I mean,
Happy Days had a 70 million per week viewership average.
God.
Jesus.
That's insane.
Because when people are just like, all those old shows that owned America by the balls.
No kidding.
The Fonz is just like, hey, I own you.
Kyle, I don't know if you watched it, but I sent you the promo for this episode.
I did.
So I'm going to show Reed for the first time because it's fucking crazy.
Seeing a lot of Hebrew.
It's not good.
Oh, I mean, they never are.
Yeah, here we go.
Have a look at this promo.
spoke of the end of days, and the great foretold the battle of good and evil. It's here. Supernatural.
Wow.
That's it.
That is the worst promo
The
we've seen
ads-
so far.
Have the people who make the ads seen the show?
No.
Or is it just described
Absolutely.
to them loosely?
Yes.
And then they sort of
Absolutely
are
not.
like, well, I mean, based on what they've said, like a saw voice and some History Channel style religious symbol montages.
Like that's literally
Yeah.
like they're two parallel shows. There's the show the marketing department thinks they're making, and there's the show that's actually being made.
And that's some of, I think, why people like me had no idea that the show was good. Because you see these
100%.
ads that are just like, what if Ghost Adventures seemed kind of dorky?
Yes.
And you're just like, and that's a statement. But like, it's and then you see the show. Like, I feel like if you told the people who made the ads that this show often opens with AC/DC songs, they'd be like, "What?
yeah.
Our
Since
show,
when?
the show we've made promos for 7 years, has a cool classic rock soundtrack. Next, you're going to be telling me there's mostly sexy adventures and jokes."
What do you mean Dean likes to eat burgers?
That is not the word I thought you were
They've
going to
got
end
a
with.
car.
Oh, listen. Early seasons Dean, probably not.
Yeah.
Later seasons Dean definitely eats pussy.
Oh, 100%.
Do you think that's a byproduct of him being brought back to life? That's one of the things that changed.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna do it right this time.
He hasn't noticed it, and then all of a sudden it's happening, and he goes that direction and goes like, "Whoa, who am I?"
Sorry, I don't know why my brain went here, but you said you think that's one of the things that happened when he came back to life. And in my head, I went, that would be a better ending to It's a Wonderful Life. Is that the lesson
That's
that he
true as well.
the lesson
I
that he
mean-
learns is like, I have to eat pussy. Like,
You're not incorrect. Ultimately,
You
It's-
you
you're
want
off
the
base, but
you're-
not incorrect.
you want the poon? I'll give you the poon.
Clarence, it's great.
I'm gonna get the poon and I'm gonna pull it down for you.
Richard, let Reed have this.
No, this is too fun.
You keep popping in, and it's just like, nah,
No.
he's doing the voice. You didn't even come in with a voice.
All right, so this episode was
When he needs the win, so when we can give them to them, we got to give them to him.
I know.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. You're
Reed,
right.
I had to figure out a way still to hurt you.
Yeah, don't you know that's your guys' relationship?
It's so hot.
I'm super edging now.
So, how do we want to roll from here? Because I got questions, I got thoughts. Let's
We got-
get hyped.
We got a lot of time. So we've got the title, which is Lazarus Rising.
Yeah,
This episode
as he does.
Yes, the name comes is derived from stories of Lazarus of Bethany, who was restored to life 4 days after his death by Jesus. This is mirrored slightly in this episode. But let's talk about the title in international titles.
Right.
So, what do we think that the different countries probably titled this?
Oh my god, I'm so ready for one country to just be like, "He's back, baby," like as the title.
No, we
No?
didn't get that. It's not that fun yet. I know.
Motherfuckers.
I know. They've been disappointing us lately.
Dropping the ball.
So the German title is Lazarus is Rising.
Yeah, sure.
Need to be clerically correct there.
Yeah,
Brazil is Lazarus Resurrection.
sure. Which sounds like the sequel.
Yes. The Hungarian title is just Resurrection.
Okay.
And the French title.
No, wait, I'm not done yet.
It's La Main de Dieu. The hand
you,
of God.
You can't speak French. Show me the thing.
It's the hand of God.
Oh, Jesus. Your French is so bad. You grew up in Windsor, man.
I never had to take French.
You grew up in like a French pocket of Ontario.
They never made me take French in school.
Christ.
Those listening at home, if that sounded organic, just know that they picked up pieces of paper that said legally required Canadian content stop. It's what keeps them open to win podcasting awards. It's
Don't
got
you
a
know
certain
about
level of
our
Canadian
Official
referencing.
Languages Act?
Yeah.
Look, I'm sorry.
Ugh.
All right.
Tabarnak. Colis.
Featured music's from this episode. This is a fucking banger soundtrack. This
It is.
episode.
I
big
feel
time.
like I'm lucky because it feels like they go pretty hard on the premieres.
Totally.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. We open with "You Shook Me All Night Long" by AC/DC.
Oh, yeah.
We then
Wild
go,
it took 4 seasons.
I know. There's a system in place, which is why.
Oh, I mean that as a compliment. Like that's some like patience there. That's a show of class.
Yes. Yeah, they really start figuring out how to use AC/DC the longer they get into the show. So we start with
It's funny when they start running out AC/DC songs. You open a season with I've got big balls. You've got big balls.
And the shame is they always start with Big Balls, which should not be like the latter era DC song you want. The one you should get is Big Gun from the fucking Last Action Hero soundtrack.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
secretly his fucking rockinest riff he ever did.
That's true. Yeah.
That's a good one.
We've also got Fight Song by the Republic Tigers.
Okay.
We have Vision by Jason Manns, Wrapped Around Your Finger by Martin Late, and I'm So Blue by Katie Thompson.
Yeah.
TV Guide describes this episode as, in the 4th season opener, Dean has been freed from hell and reunites with Sam and Bobby, but the 3 don't know how he returned.
Oh my god.
Just literally the entire
Pretty
episode.
legitimately concise. Like that
Yeah.
is
It's a rare.
Normally they really give up the goat.
Yeah. This has been pretty good, actually. But I'm desperate to talk about this episode. But before we do, we need to open up Dad's journal and learn about some of the real world lore.
Yeah, let's see what the lore says about angels.
Wow, we're going hard.
Listen, this is not the last time we're going to talk about angels, and we'll do more stuff in more detail, but it's very broad entry.
that's just smart podcasting. That's somebody looking down the road at 15 seasons and going, you know what we're not going to do in this episode in season 4? Burn all the angel facts.
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet.
This is called day 1. I'll hand you out the syllabus. That is the end of angel segment is syllabus. I hope you buy your books next time, because next time what we're going to do is talk about the books.
Yeah.
About lesson 15, we go, all right, fact number 1 is next week.
That's very funny. So angels, very, very short version. They're celestial beings. They act as servants of a god.
Sure.
The word derives from a variety of old and ancient languages. You could trace its etymology back through like Old English, Old French, to ancient Greek, to some kind of like proto languages before that. But it essentially, in many versions, is a translation of the word messenger.
Sure.
Means messenger. Initially, that was like a literal meaning of the word, and then it's some translation of the Bible, maybe the Vulgate Latin translation, that weirdly like separates different types of messengers. Like the word that angel comes from was originally like, any messenger, that was the word. And then that Vulgate translation made the distinction between human messengers and supernatural messengers. And that's closer to where we get like where angels come in. We're obviously going to be talking almost exclusively about sort of biblical Abrahamic angels, because that's like the most the one we're most familiar with.
The right one, you mean?
The right one. But it's also the one most related to the episode and stuff. But there's lots of other types of these beings. So like in Zoroastrianism, there's these things called the Amesha Spentas, which are 6 divine beings that are essentially kind of like archangels. And there's lots of versions of angelic beings and other things. It's thought that in the Abrahamic faith, angels essentially took the place of like, remember when we did the Vanir episode in season 1? We talked about how in Norse mythology, the Vanir was sort of their way of folding in other pagan gods that were not like the Asgardians.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's a cool thing.
So that's kind of what the Vanir, that's what Vanaheim is in Norse mythology, is like the rest.
There's so now they just hang out in the beach
also
and play
where
with the Mighty Ducks.
We all were just jumping to get there. That's where Viking Disneyland is.
Oh, yeah.
There's a thought that in the Abrahamic faith that the idea of angels morphed to kind of take on some of that role, where they were like, well, we only have one God, but if we want to rope in maybe some other stories or other things, that could be for the angels, and that is a way to like incorporate other elements.
Reed, I have a question.
Yeah.
when you guys were divvying up segments at the initial run of the show, and Richard was like, well, you don't want to get all that like nitty gritty facts and look up the show titles and find the song list and stuff like that. And he tried to get you to paint that fence with theological stuff. And all of a sudden you're bringing in scrolls and old maps and explaining the Abrahamic translation of something. And Richard's like, they played 2 AC/DC songs this week. Like the level of fucking scam I am looking at right now.
The craziest part is he made me come up with the idea.
Yeah, Jesus. But it's so funny. You have said more words in half the time than Richard did.
No. This is my podcast. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm also the king of concision too.
It's just
all right.
I'm watching it just going like, I'm lost to the point where now I'm just thinking about the meta game going on here.
That's true. I mean, I do love the idea, though, of me being like Gandalf and Minas Tirith pulling scrolls and shit out.
Oh, would you like something like that?
Yeah. So, angels. They're powerful heavenly beings, vast in power, but distinctly less powerful than God. That's always important to throw in there. In Jewish tradition, interestingly, or early Jewish tradition, they're also meant to be inferior to humans because they lack a will of their own, and they only exist to carry out divine commands. Yeah. So even though they have some spiritual power, they're like a lesser class of being, weirdly. A later interpretation in rabbinic Judaism is that angels are beings made from fire with no physical bodies, which is metal as hell. Or I guess it's heaven. Never mind. They're jealous of humans, especially the most sort of virtuous and prayerful ones, because God loves them more, which is sort of interesting too. Perhaps that is why it's not believed that ancient Jewish tradition included the worship of angels themselves. Christianity is kind of more to thank for praying specifically to angels, although there is some of that in Islam too, for certain things, including exorcisms and stuff like that.
Out from like praying to saints, or does it go from like praying to angels to praying to saints?
I think it goes that way. Well, the idea of what an angel is also interesting because that depends on the thing. Like there
is
are some
heaven sending you down to like different departments on the phone.
That's shipping, receiving. That's
yeah. Oh, you want to talk to a saint? I don't know why they sent you to me, a saint. You need to be talking to an archangel.
Yeah.
Yes, you sent me. I am an archangel, but you got the forms when you were just talking to God, right? Or we got to start this process over.
Yeah. Look, if you're not going to come with me with a TP4, I don't know how I'm going to help you.
Yeah, please hold.
Please sit in purgatory.
It's interesting because some like kind of Scandinavian and sort of later Christian denominations believed that angels were like all angels were previously human at some point, the way that demons are. Mm-hmm. But that's not across the board. Like biblically speaking, angels exist separate from humans.
Yeah.
But then there were all these sort of sub-denominations that were like, oh, no. Angels were humans. They were virtuous and great. And then their souls were like translated to angelic beings upon their entry into heaven or whatever. So the idea of like angelic origin is like weirdly more muddied than the idea of demons. Mm-hmm. We have a very clear idea of what a demon is. Angels are a lot more muddy. And I think it's because of that sort of weird starting point where it's like they're messengers and then it became more and more of a thing. And angels, like the Lilith thing we talked about, most of the lore of angels is not really happening in the Bible or in like those original texts, right? Mm-hmm. It's happening in art and mysticism and the other stories that are spinning out
Sort
of
of
those
your
things.
Fantastic Beast territory.
Yeah,
It's the fan fiction.
It's essentially fanfic. Yeah, it's Bible fanfic.
Yeah, see, I don't think of it as fanfic. I think of it as like a spin-off that you forget like started there. You know, like when you forget that like Laverne and Shirley is like
you're
a
right.
Happy Days spin-off.
You're right. It's not fanfic. It's like reading Shadows of the Empire.
Yes, absolutely. It's perfection right there.
It's
With a
doing that.
little twist of Thrawn.
Yeah, it's that kind of shit. So there's all sorts. They
Kyle
start
Katarn deals with Angel.
exactly.
God, you are meant to write for the show, Kyle. I'm so sad that you can't go time travel.
Every episode I weep a little, going like, we got to get that prequel show going. We got to get the Adventures of Young Dad or something.
It's coming.
So there's some angels are eventually even given distinct personalities and names. Some of the ones that are like the most prevalent in some of those like religious texts, Michael, Gabriel, Metatron, a few names like that. Yeah, Decepticons. In Islam, angels fulfill actually a variety of roles. Some of it is being a messenger of like God's will. Sometimes they are scribes of human events. They just like this is what's happening on Earth right now. And sometimes they are like the ferrymen for souls when people die and things like that. There's seems to be a lot more going on. Both Christianity and Islam do a better job of describing the look of angels. The idea of having wings and being vaguely, humanoid and stuff like that. Although I think in the Quran, it maybe describes them having up to 4 pairs of wings.
Yep.
That's some playing Diablo shit.
Which is fucking cool shit. Yeah. I mean, I think that's about as far as I want to go with angels.
Yeah, Kyle, that was the broad strokes.
I want to keep it vague. So, because we've got so much fun, specific angel shit coming up.
Yeah, that was the broad strokes about angels.
Oh,
Now,
sorry.
this
Do we
isn't-
want to get back to the part of the show you worked real hard on?
Which part?
I got some
There's so
information.
many.
There's a lot of segments.
How did you
Quantity.
trick me into doing more work for this?
You told us you fooled yourself.
Yeah.
It was your idea, buddy.
It was my idea. I was like, Richard's doing a lot. I should have a segment.
So I can't even punish Richard for this. You were like, I need a segment. Let me start flogging upon myself.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Let
Was
me
exactly
fetch
it.
the labor boulder. I have an observation I'd like to throw out that'll be
Sure.
an interesting lens for this episode.
Sure.
Okay.
You guys are both watching this episode knowing who this character is
Yes,
and
right.
what level of symbolism they are.
Yes.
And while I am aware of some things, this also out the gate knowing about this character, it's very funny, and it kind of reminds me of Barbossa in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I think that's before we started recording that I was
Yes,
talking
it
about
is.
these, where they establish in an initial moment a villain that is so terrifying and scary, the world is never the same again. And then by like the second or third time you see him, they're like bickering with a robot
I mean,
and like in the kitchen going like, oh, you kids. And like this person was trying to melt the planet 3 movies ago. And now they're like babysitting.
that's really funny.
Well,
And from what I understand, that happens with this character in this episode. Literally, he's burning people's eyes out and demons are going like, this will fuck our souls apart. And then from what I understand later, he's just like hanging out. So it's so funny because in my mind, had I not known that that is what happens, I'd be like, holy shit, I don't know how they're getting out of this. They have to fight the greatest power in the world. Season 4, we can't be lasting much longer. This could be the end. Like anything's possible. Dean's back from hell only to be destroyed by this thing because maybe God is involved. Man, we're going to get canceled in a minute here, but they are going to the mat. I hope this monster doesn't end up being a weird catty old man.
God. such
that's incisive.
yes. So
That's what I thought for a good hour after finishing the episode at 1 a.m. last night.
That's really funny.
We'll get there. As we start walking into this episode, I just want to give a bit of like some fun behind the scenes stuff that had happened heading into this. So the show sent this was one of the things that's so great about the show beyond the writing and all this other stuff is the way that they treat the fan base, including the reviewer base. And they were one of the first shows to like really get like connected and like dive in deep into like the internet culture behind the show. Right. Which included, they sent a bunch of boxes of promo items to internet reviewers for the show only. Sure. So, which included a bunch of fucking rad shit. So,
this is a little sketchy, though, where they're just like, hey, reviewers, you want us to try to bribe you?
Oh, yeah, 100%. But that's also this show, Kyle, this show is all about pandering to its audience.
Well, and I understand because it's not like that what hasn't been happening forever and gotten more dramatic.
Yes.
You always think about like when they fly video game reviewers to Hawaii to check out the game and shit like that. So it is like a funny thing, but it is sort of a like, well, all right.
Yeah. So one thing they got was obviously the first 2 episodes of the season packaged in a big black box with some devilish insignia sealing the contents inside. Sure. Inside was a origami wrapped sort of DVD screener package with Sam on one side and the phrase, "I don't know if I'm doing this right."
Is that there ever been a more Sam sentence?
And then on the other side is the same sort of creepy devilish insignia that was on the box. And then there also was a Bible.
Just fully sent people a Bible?
Yep.
That's aggressive.
A legit Bible, but with a bookmark placed where the book of Revelation starts, page 792 in that version. Right. The bookmark reads, "Who is worthy to open the book and break its seals?" Revelation 5:2. Right. There's also a card that tells them the things that they're not allowed to reveal about the thing. I just thought that was so fucking metal to send a fucking Bible. I mean, in a different context, it's a bad thing.
That's like a serial killer move. We just got a Bible in the mail with a bookmark at Revelation.
Yes.
You're like, oh shit, he's back.
So fucking cool. But it's just so like indicative of this show to be like super like subtext without any subtext.
No subtext.
Do you know what you do though? Somewhere in that Bible, just on a random page of every single one, you draw like a super terrifying, giant, all-seeing eye across one page just says, "It sees all through all," or something like that. So, like, but not that there's a bookmark. You got to be flipping through that thing and find a hidden thing that gives you nightmares.
Oh my god.
Now that's viral marketing.
Yes.
But a thing that probably won't get seen into a lot of stuff.
All right, let's finally start talking about this episode. This begins with, of course, the then, our precursor to the episode, which opens with.
Are those in every episode or just mine?
No, they're in every episode.
Okay. Yeah. But the season openers,
premiere ones are
always,
obviously more padded.
It's a montage of the previous season.
I will say this: felt like most of the previous, like last season, was just from the one episode I'd seen. It is interesting that yet again, I'm looking forward to it because I imagine that's part of the Monster of the Week of it.
Yes.
Is that they cut out all the Monster of the Week ones when they do the previous one. So like, I'm still following the show pretty well. I have very little detail or character development, but you want to talk bare bones plot, meta plot of Supernatural.
Yes.
After watching each of these, I'm like, I'm still on board. I'm 90% still informed on what the plot of the show is.
This is also why I kind of like this experiment.
Yes.
Same.
That was it work.
It's a fascinating game, and it's twice now. Twice now have I sat down and seen that thing, and this is literally mostly the one episode I've seen, with some shots from the finale, just to get where we got to go.
So you're watching that part. What do you assume happened, and how are you coming into this? What do you remember? Where are you sitting at this moment?
I assumed it was a real like ticking clock where they're trying to get Dean to not be taken.
Yeah.
And I imagine was sort of a running theme of like the futility where they have no control over this stuff. And it makes Sam crazy because Sam is wishing he had control, but also quietly knows that he's a fucking dingus without Dean. And so kind of like, I imagine it's sort of like a meta cancer story where you're trying to find all of the ways to stop the thing. And ultimately you can't stop it and there's no cure and he gets taken. And then they sort of like do a fucking bullshit TV show thing of like, well, they're dead, so I guess we'll move on. And there is in no way an article in Deadline about how the actor played Dean just confirmed for 5 more seasons of Supernatural. At which point the wind on the ocean disappears from those sails.
That definitely didn't happen. But again, perfectly like wrapped up what happened.
I think it's both. That's some. It's like
it's a great device.
You're doing good storytelling if things are relatively easy to follow. But I wonder too if any writers of the show ever listen to this, if they go like, that was 16 seasons, he didn't even need to watch or 16 episodes, he didn't even need to watch them.
So here's what I'll say about it too, is like I say that stuff not to take a dig at it, because I think that there are some shows that really aggressively lean into like misleading you into thinking characters will die and then going like, just kidding.
Yeah.
Whereas like, I think what works about this show is like, you see Dean die and you're just like, there's not a doubt in my mind that in that first episode, our boy Dean's not crawling out and hopping in that goddamn car.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's more to me compelling of like, okay, like first of all, that shot of him in hell from the finale where he's got the fucking thing going through his shoulder.
Yeah.
Like they put some Hellraiser stuff in this, which is an observation I always forget about this show, is that this show, as I will say both times I've been on prior, is so much harder core than I always think it is.
Yes.
I am consistently shocked this was on network television. It is truly a testament that the teens who are the only audience for this show told no one.
It's yeah, absolutely. It's like the kid who dies at summer camp. Like you go home and you never talk about it, but we all knew what happened that year.
It's crazy how brutal this show is. Like that's, I think, the thing that ultimately kind of won me over is that, like, what Buffy, when something bad happened, they're like, oh my God, that librarian got cut on the arm or some shit. Whereas on this show, it's just like, they went into a town and killed everyone. And they don't get revived back at the end. There's just death in their wake. And everybody around them is just like, we don't like you guys coming to town because we all get killed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, sweet.
But, Dean crawls out of that grave pulling a Kill Bill.
Yeah. So this is actually also the second consecutive season that we've had AC/DC to accompany the opening recap.
Yeah.
They didn't do that the first season, but
so that's not a thing normally.
It is now.
It's becoming
okay, good. Thank God.
Yeah. The third season uses Hell's Bells. This season uses You Shook Me All Night, and season 5 uses Thunderstruck. So
what? All right.
Yeah. So prepare for that. So yes, the episode starts with flashes of Dean's eyes in hell, obviously, with terrifying screaming in the background. We sort of get lots of flashes of that. And then we go to black with harsh breathing, and then there's a lighter which is lit. Dean is in a pine box. He calls for help, but his throat's too dry from no use, and his voice is raspy and quiet. So he looks around the best he can and finally breaks the top of the coffin, which is also a terrifying thing. I hate this part.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Oh, God. But
he digs himself out.
Yeah. Dean. Dean. Oh, I love him so much.
And emerges in a field. All of the trees have fallen, radiating around from the grave that he's in. Dean climbs out of his coffin after having been mysteriously pulled out of hell. He walks until he finds an empty gas station where he eagerly drinks some water. Dean crawling out of his coffin and across the street to a gas station as well as chugging water is reminiscent of Beatrix Kiddo's rise from her grave in Kill Bill Volume 2, which is kind of cool. It's sort of a nod at
Kill
that.
Bill.
He grabs a newspaper. The newspaper that he looks at is the same date of the episode of when the episode aired, which is fun.
That's fun.
Nice that worked out.
Yes,
that they like nothing changed in the meantime to change like its air date.
Yes, that might have really fucked things up. He also examines.
It was the day ahead by accident. It was like early edition.
Oh, I loved that show. Just saying, it was really good. He also examined. Fuck you guys.
You got real ride or die Kyle Chandler energy.
I don't know if that's a good thing. He also examines himself for signs of a hellhound attack. And he lifts up his shirt.
Oh,
he's so fucking hot.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh cool, my abs are back.
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
Yeah, they really kill the shit out of him, apparently.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
He gets like ripped to shreds.
Like blood
last
gurgling.
Which again, wild. Like normally when characters die in a show on the CW, like some light from After Effects shoots out of them and then they stay attractive and fall on the ground.
Yeah.
Not on this show. It's like unsettling.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, like blood like burbles out of him.
Yeah.
And shit. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's fucking metal. So,
Thank God he's hot again.
yeah, he's completely healed. No trace of any attack at all.
They should have done Colonel Ty and given him an eye patch.
I mean, that would have been rad.
That would have been pretty cool.
But he's too pretty. But he
He'd
finds
be a good like Snake Plissken.
he
type,
does
yeah.
find a red handprint on his shoulder.
Oh.
Some-
I love it. I'm
it
so
appears
excited.
to be burned into his skin.
So is that like a thing for just the rest of the show?
Yeah.
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 It comes back in a big way.
The only do you know the reason I know that, guys? Do you know why? Do you know
why?
why? Do you know why? Because it's on the erotic Reed fan art.
You're goddamn right it is.
I keep forgetting you've shown everyone.
Oh yeah. Everyone
Many times.
Yeah. It's an important part of our history. So
He had the handprint there.
Yeah.
I happen to know, like, I bet that's some part of the show. And so when I saw him pull it up, I'm like, oh, it's the thing from the
I love
erotic
it.
fan
Now
The
art.
reverse.
he's watching Supernatural going, oh, it's the thing from
the
the
art.
grotesque, sexy art that Richard had done.
I do hope that the Supernatural people are listening to this, and if they're not horribly upset with how I'm butchering the show, I hope that they're at least going like, all right, this is an interesting thing this guy's taking us a ride on. Let's see where he goes.
what a weird way to watch this show.
He's super pro our show despite watching it wrong. So let's
Yes.
see how this works out.
Dean grabs some water, some protein bar, and of course, a copy of Busty Asian Beauties.
Yeah, I'm back from the dead. Let's jerk it.
Yeah.
He does check the magazine to make sure it is up to snuff before he takes it.
Look, this is he's a
man-
connoisseur of
He's a
Busty
man
Asian
with
Beauties.
refined tastes.
This is a constant runner on the show, Kyle, is his love of Busty Asian Beauties.
I would dare say call him a busty Asian beauties aficionado.
Yes. It's a lot of times. Websites, we found out he has a subscription to the website in a later
Yeah,
episode.
that's right.
You should get a subscription to the magazine too.
Well, I think he likes both
I think he
digital
would
and
if he
print
had
media.
if he ever stayed in one
Oh, that's
place.
right. He doesn't have a residence. That's
Yeah.
right. So he does have to
Picks
be
it up when he
sort of find him on
can.
the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as he prepares to leave, the TV and the radio switch on.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking it's a demon, he starts to pour salt along the windows, but he is crippled by a piercing sound that shatters all of the glass in the building.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When the scene happens, if you look closely enough, you can actually see a small band-aid on one of his forearms. This is because the props team used real glass, and when Dean throws himself on the floor during this scene, he got several cuts on his arm.
Remember, this is real acid, so goggles, everyone.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, at least they knew it was real glass going into it, and it wasn't somebody was playing with real glass the night before.
Uh-oh. Is this a Rust reference? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Jesus.
Look, I'm just saying. We're topical here, baby.
Oh, God.
Then, as quickly as it starts, it stops.
Yeah.
Dean tries to call Sam from a payphone, but his number's out of order.
Yeah.
So he calls Bobby instead to identifies himself, but Bobby immediately hangs up. He tries again, but Bobby threatens to kill him if he calls again.
Yeah.
Frustrated, he looks around and eyes an old car. He hotwires it and takes off. Oh yeah, baby, that's the first
That's
scene.
the most unreal thing in this entire episode too, is just like that old car in a field can run now.
Yeah, it must have gas in it.
Gas, the tires are all properly inflated still. Like,
Yeah.
He's at a gas station. They didn't show him filling it up. It's fine.
yeah, he turned the car back off to fill it up with gas and then re-hotwired it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Shh, it's fine. It's fine. So he
Should have
showed,
been just a random motorcycle. Let's get real.
yeah, but he's a car guy. We never see him on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
I forgot. That's
we
part
don't
of it.
ever see
Yeah.
him on a motor.
So he shows up at Bobby's doorstep.
Hear me out. So you should see the motorcycle and go, ugh, and then see that old car.
God, that's
Yeah.
a punch up if I ever heard one.
That's
But
good.
like, gotta lift his eyebrows, like go, and then look over at the other one, and you just see his eyebrows go up. Just,
Even though it's like a bug.
Hey there, Studebaker.
Oh yeah, one where you can like open the windshield out like from the middle.
He shows up at Bobby's and this goes, "Auga," as he pulls up.
Yeah. I just sold a bunch of vacuum cleaners in Yonkers. And now I'm here.
I had to hot crank it.
Let's go, Barnaby. So he shows up at Bobby's doorstep. Bobby immediately assumes he's a shapeshifter or a revenant and tries to kill him with a silver knife.
Yep.
After a tussle,
because Bobby is Bobby's prepared. Bobby knows what's up.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not going to believe that they've never had somebody resurrect before.
Well, not like that. I mean, Dean did bring Sam back, but no one else has sold their soul to bring Dean back. Like, there's no reason for Dean to be back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have a fight, and Dean wrestles the knife away and proves his identity by cutting himself with it.
Yeah.
Bobby is amazed and embraces him, but then checks one more time with the holy water, which I love.
Yeah.
That's a great bit.
It's good. Yeah.
It's like, what? I got to make sure. I can't be too careful. So he finally believes that Dean is resurrected from hell. Dean asks where Sam is, and Bobby says that he hasn't actually talked to him in months. Dean admonishes Bobby for not looking after Sam. Bobby fires back that he tried to, but they both have had a really hard time since
he's
Dean
been
was
too
gone.
busy fucking people. He's trying to live up to your example, Dean.
I mean, legitimately.
Cut to.
He took off and doesn't return phone calls. He tried to find Sam but couldn't because he doesn't want to be found. Bobby says that he hasn't seen Sam since they had buried Dean. Dean asks why they didn't bury his body as for the ritual of hunters. But Bobby says that Sam was completely against it because he wanted him to have a body to come back to. So now we're going, okay, well, clearly Sam must be the reason why
Sam
he's
must
back.
have done something.
Yeah, exactly. So Dean concedes that he's glad Sam won that argument because he's got a body right now, and confesses that he would have done the same thing, but he's worried. He tells Bobby that the gravesite looked like a nuclear blast, and he senses there was a presence at the gas station.
Yeah.
So Dean shows him the large red handprint, deeply branded on his left shoulder.
And Bobby says, "Hey, isn't that the thing from the sexy artwork?"
He's like, yeah, somebody sent me it on an NSW thread.
Oh my God, could I make it an NFT?
God, no. Jesus.
Like, I'm against NFTs a lot, but if I were ever to be won over, it would only be in this one very stupid situation.
Think of the financial gain.
Here, can we split it though, where it's this, but we also put that shitty Kings of Leon record on it too? That was the moment where I went from NFTs don't seem like a good idea to, oh, fuck these things. Was when they're like, you can get an NFT version of a Kings of Leon album.
Yeah, it feels like a real like Wu-Tang / Kanye West kind of thing, but
Yeah, just a real like, don't do this.
No.
Like,
So they deduce that the mark must be from a demon that yanked him or rode him.
Ooh.
God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yanked and rode, if you've seen that artwork.
Dear Penthouse. That's true. The only reason the demon would have done that is they decided it must be from a bargain.
Yeah.
So Dean calls the phone company and asks them to turn on his GPS on his phone so he can track where Sam is.
Yeah.
When Dean calls up the cell phone company to track Sam's phone, he uses the name Wedge Antilles, which is the name of a rogue squadron fighter in a Star Wars.
I think the people know who Wedge Antilles is.
stays on the way to this podcast.
Who is portrayed by Dennis Lawson and is the only non-main character to appear in all 3 original Star Wars films and survive.
Yeah.
They find him in Pontiac, Illinois, a town very near the place Dean was buried. So they're going, well, like the connection here is already proving that.
Yeah.
Also the home of Jimmy Novak.
We can't. Not yet. We can't.
So Bobby and Dean arrive at Sam's hotel room, and the door is answered by a scantily clad lady.
Ooh.
Oh.
I don't know how to be turned on if it's not Sam or Dean.
That's that thing where we always talk about hot people and you forget that you can include
I
women.
always default to men until I'm reminded that women can make the list. Yeah.
Yes, that's because you're a man on a podcast in 2021.
Well,
fair.
We all do now.
So
It's interesting because like she answers the door
Yes.
and is like, who are you guys? And then like Dean, is there, and Sam's like, hey, it's you. And then they do a little Meet Joe Black standoff.
Yeah.
And she's just sort of standing there the whole time. But like what they're up to very much does not seem like it has like hook up in a love hotel energy. Like they have real like, well, what if we like take off one article of clothing and then hang out awkwardly and, see what happens kind of energy.
I mean, that's even funnier if Sam has been on like a months-long string of like working up the courage.
Yeah. He's just taking ladies back time and they're all wildly confused because then he just awkwardly, but he's watched like Avatar on his phone with like 10 different women.
So the thing about the Navi is that
and then fucking, can we talk about, because maybe this is something I'm not remembering, or maybe it is new. I texted Richard briefly. Has he had that shirt for a while now, or is that new to this episode? Because I desperately hope it's new.
Oh,
That like white shirt with all the white embroidery on it.
I think it's
I
new.
think it's new. I don't recall seeing
fucking
it, yeah.
perfect. Because my fascination with it is Dean is dead. I can do whatever I want. I want to sort of dress like that weird guy from Resident Evil 4.
Yes, you
That's
did
awesome.
message me and said I have that shirt, and I didn't know what that meant.
No, I said we have to talk about that.
Oh, okay. It was mixed messages, but yes, now that
It
makes
was
sense.
very late, and I was very excited because there was a dumb shirt to make fun of.
That's pretty funny.
That's very funny.
It is such a, and he really never stops wearing it. I kept thinking like, well, surely this is a bit for this one scene where he's like, "The sexy lady loved my weird embroidered shirt."
No, that is fully a new shirt.
Yeah, so that's great because now that's canon that like it's a shirt that Dean would disapprove of.
I think
So
he got
was
it
like,
from-
well, Dean's dead, baby.
The first step towards him being okay with Dean being gone is
Was
him
shopping at
buying a new
RW and Co.
Yes, you get it. And that lady though too is just like, you guys a thing? And then they're like, no, we're brothers. Then she's like,
Do you want to be
cool.
a thing?
Yeah.
I just want to be
Can
a
we
thing.
still
And they're
make
like,
this a thing?
does that happen twice in this episode where they are propositioned for two different threesomes with ladies? Because it
think
happens
yes.
with
so.
the sexy lady whose eyes
Yes.
explode.
Yes.
That's right. Yes.
Look, I don't blame them. The show knows what it is.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, so they basically like slowly convince Sam because Sam does the same thing where he goes to fucking attack him, and Bobby's like, no, okay,
Yeah.
trust me.
We've already done this.
I checked. So the woman there is basically like, I'm gonna go because if we're not gonna all fuck, like, I really want to ride that bearded guy's face, but if that's not gonna happen, then we should probably end me.
Bobby's.
Look, if you're gonna go for one of them, it's got to be Bobby.
Yeah, that's true.
So they Sam promises that he didn't make a deal though to get him out of hell,
Yeah.
because they're immediately like, what the fuck did you do?
I thought
Clearly,
we literally talked about this in the finale last episode. We have to stop making deals to save each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and he's like, oh, I tried.
Yeah.
He's like, let's not get it mixed. Like, I desperately tried to do this.
Yeah.
I tried to open. He just casually says, I tried to open the gates of hell.
Right. Like he went back to the place in
Yeah, from
Colorado
season
or
one,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he is just like, I did everything, but nobody would make a deal with me. Like, it's just not going to work. I don't know why you're here. Which makes them all just then question, like, how did Dean get out in the first place? Dean asks Sam why he's in the place where he was buried, and he tells him that he was following a pack of demons who led them there. He figured Lilith might be possibly around, and he was eager to dish out some payback. Bobby suggests that they get on the road to visit a psychic he knows, because maybe like there's a word in the supernatural sort of realm about what's going on right now.
Yeah, like it's if they can't figure it out, maybe it's news in the other world kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like, what are the repercussions from all of this? Like, because there's no way that a good thing can happen to them.
Yeah, totally.
So what's the cost? I mean, that's the truth. That's the show's sort of premise. Sam takes the amulet off his own neck and returns it back to Dean. Sam asks Dean what hell was like, and Dean says, he doesn't remember anything. Just totally not true.
Yeah.
You see flashes then of,
I mean, but also, come on, Sam. You don't go like, oh, hey, you're back. How was Nam?
how was hell?
Yeah.
Meet some nice people.
Yeah.
Eat some interesting food.
How were the front lines? Did you have fun?
Have some illegitimate children with the locals.
Ugh.
So we then get into the Impala because Sam goes, I assume you're going to want to drive. And he goes, oh my God, my car. I didn't even, oh my God, yes.
Oh, I've been waiting for this moment. Oh,
we get a classic old tech moment where he gets in the car. He goes, what the fuck is this?
It's
This
like
was maybe the best scene in the episode.
it's like a first generation iPod. It's like Sam is like,
look at it. It's too advanced with it. It's got 4 directional things to try to navigate the things. Monochrome screen that will never get better then.
And
Dean being like, what the fuck did you do to my car?
he's like, it's an iPod connector. What do you mean? And
Now,
then he turns
in
it
Dean's
on.
defense, Sam bought a really stupid holder for it.
Yes.
Yeah, Sam's got real pager holder energy on his
But
belt.
again, back
Yes.
to the shirt thing. He's like, Dean's not
The shirt.
around. I
Like,
can do whatever I
That's
want.
the one thing. Yeah, Sam is really just secretly like we love him, but like he truly can't be left to his own devices.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a real Richard
if,
E.
if Dean was dead, Sam would be there day one of Google Glass.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sam
Like,
is.
left your own devices,
What would I do?
buy a lot of Legos.
Yeah. I think I'm the Dean that's like keeping you cool a little
I
bit.
think this is more of a show of like a Sam and a Bobby.
I'll take that.
Whoa.
I'll be Bobby. I'll take that. I'm perfectly happy with that.
Also, our fans have said I'm the Dean, so fuck you.
Yeah, what do they know? Please keep listening.
Sam is Eurotrash at his heart, and
Yeah, okay.
It would have been really
true.
funny to see him in like part of an Adidas tracksuit or something like that.
look, this comes
Like a
back.
glitter dragon shirt.
This comes back in like 14 seasons from now, or like 12 seasons from now. But they do sort of answer this question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they're on the road. Dean tells Sam that he's perplexed by the fact that Sam has survived the night when he was in hell, since Lilith really wanted to kill him, because Dean just died and then Sam was left there with our villain from the previous season.
Right.
And as far as he knows, Sam should have been dead too. So he explains that Lilith did this huge blast at him and it sort of didn't affect him at all. He was completely
that,
immune
like she
to
was
it.
powerless
Yeah.
against him. Yeah.
Exactly. Sam says that he and she were both shocked and that she vanished pretty quickly after her failed attempt.
Yeah.
Dean looks confused and inquires about where's Ruby? And she says, "Oh, she's either dead or in hell." Dean asks him if they know if he's got immunity, then what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And he has been maybe using his ESP shit, because there's basically like in the previous season he started to sort of like show the second season he showed a bunch of ability,
Yeah. And then third season he was like, oh, it's gone since we killed Yellow Eyes, and then Ruby revealed it was just dormant.
Yeah, exactly.
But we didn't get time to see
Exactly. But
anything happen with that.
we find that Dean was like, hey, don't fucking use your abilities.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you didn't use that shit, right? And he basically says, oh, yeah, no, definitely not. Claiming that he's honored Dean's practically dying wish
Yeah.
and that he wouldn't go down that road.
Yeah. Don't use your abilities. Get rid of that shirt.
Exactly.
Hold on to that shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop eyeing that shirt inside that store. You're never going to buy it.
Stop fucking with the music in my car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dean doesn't look completely convinced and says, yeah, well, keep it that way. They both look back towards the road with worried faces.
Uh-oh. They're not telling each other the whole truth.
Good thing that's not a runner throughout the rest of the series. Bobby and the boys arrive at the home of Pamela Barnes.
Question.
Yes.
What is the deal with Sam's powers? That's new to me. That's maybe
Okay.
the one thing where he turned into 11 while I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, back in the second season, we see his powers developing a lot. We get a little bit of it in the first season, but he basically had psychic powers that started as visions and that. But we learn in the second season that if he trained them, it could include like telekinesis, some other kind of like things. And it's because as a baby, the
in that
yellow-eyed
first season of the very first episode.
the yellow-eyed demon put a bit of his demon blood into baby Sam. So he has a connection to the demon world, and he was part of this big demon plan that has been derailed by the Winchesters, but there's something different about Sam, basically.
Okay. And why is he not supposed to use it?
Well, because they're worried
They're
that
from
he's
demon,
gonna it'll embrace the demon side.
The
They'll
dark side.
yeah,
Exactly. So Dean's just like, it came from a demon. There's no way that it's good for you. Don't do it.
But it also is pretty cool, and I imagine Dean is real against that.
I think that's probably part of it.
So Ruby shows up, who's a demon who claims that she's trying to help them last season and wants him to use these abilities. So it's been a big like fight between Ruby and Dean about whether Sam should use them or not, because Ruby's basically going like, you have these amazing abilities that can really help you guys out. You should be using them.
Yeah.
So they arrive at Pamela Barnes' house. The psychic Pamela Barnes is the Victoria Principal Victoria Principal's character on Dallas from 1978.
Oh, okay.
Which is just fun.
Wait, this is the psychic?
Yes, the super hot
Man.
psychic.
Super bummed about how this went. But this is also almost exactly what happened in the last one I watched, where there was that cool British couple.
Yeah.
It appears to be that if you know these people, you're going to be brutally killed or horribly maimed in the worst possible way.
Yep.
Totally. And I do just want to take a small moment to correct my usual, scale of who I think is hot and say, God damn, Pamela Barnes.
Oh,
yeah, it's fucking crazy.
She's got a picture of Sid Vicious that hangs above her fire mantle.
Yeah, nobody's
Amazing.
perfect, but she's got a Ramon shirt on. I was like, wow, like, should we just have this character all the time? And the movie was like, no, we're taking it away.
Bobby greets her with the phrase, "You're a sight for sore eyes," which is ironic.
Bobby. Phrasing.
Poor phrasing. After a flirty interaction with the boys, she starts the seance and touches the handprint of Dean's shoulder to reveal who saved Dean.
Right.
She conjures a being named Castiel, who is the one apparently that rescues Dean.
Yeah.
She says that she's being warned to turn back, but she responds, "No, sorry, Castiel, I don't scare easy." Bobby says just that maybe they should stop, but Pamela refuses, saying that she's almost got it.
Yeah.
When she finally makes visual contact with the being, she lets out a blood-curdling scream and falls on the floor.
Yeah.
The guys rush to her, and her eyes have been burned out.
It's fucking
so
crazy.
brutal. Like I had to stop it and kind of rewatch it because I'm like, no, like, did this show just go like super hardcore? Because that's graphic. And again, like the British couple, like, it's these super seemingly chill people with like a cool life, and then these nightmare people show up and ruin everything.
Well, yeah, because with the British couple, the guy drank all that Drano and shit.
Yeah.
It was like, oh god.
And she had to watch. Like, that's it. It's never just that they die. It's that they die, and it's often like wildly upsetting. And that's what I think is so interesting about this show is like, and I've said this before, like, because the premise is just these two guys gotta fuck demons up. It's not like they're trapping them. There's no misunderstood demons. Like, they are bad. So you constantly have to have them be more fucked up than like the heroes whose job is to kill. And so it's kind of wild. Like the demons on this show are a threat in a way that I never feel like villains are a threat in other shows.
Sure,
in so many shows you're supposed to be afraid of something, but they're like, this show's rated TV, PG, and all the characters in the show are credited in the opening credits. Like, there's no stakes to this scene at all. They are going to defeat this monster. Like, and he will have no effect on the story.
Yep. It's crazy. So
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man, it's so good. This show is good.
Oh, but yeah, her eyes fucking burned out.
Yep.
The effect, like, it looks so good.
yeah, by looking awful.
Well, yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's very well executed.
So we then cut to the guys at a diner. Dean and Sam get a call from Bobby letting them know that Pamela is out of the ICU. So she died, not dead. She is alive.
Which is, I think, worse.
Yeah. Dean laments that it's their fault that she's blind, and they
he is correct.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and they debate what they're gonna do.
I do love, I mean, this is a thing in like Greek mythology and all sorts of different storytelling in that, but like the irony of like the seer who is blind kind of thing is, I dig on that. I love a little twist of fate there kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Dean recklessly suggests that they summon this Castiel or whatever and work him over.
Oh God, they've been reading my fan fiction.
Sam
Yeah,
points
as far as I know, he's a horrible monster.
Yep. Sam points out that Pamela got one peek at him and her eyes were fucking burned out of her skull as a
Yeah.
result. A face-to-face with him seems like a pretty bad idea. Dean challenges him for a better one, though. Sam says that they should just find the demons he followed to town and find out what they know. Just then, their waitress sits down beside them because this is like a fun bar where like it's a really casual waitress.
I got to say, I know the episode's doing something specific. There
when they
are
do
a
that?
few things I hate more in this world than like a really casual interaction with, like, I'm not like, it's not about being uptight or pretentious or anything, but it's like, I'm here with people. Don't sit with us.
See, I fucking love it.
Of course.
You're going to get a fucking tip. I love you. Like,
I
this
want them
has
to be
made
friendly
my
and
meal.
shit, but like, just be friendly and then leave. Don't
No, I want
fucking make
poor
yourself at home.
boundaries.
That's like the weed dealer thing. It's like, you don't get to
Again,
come in.
same.
This is a
Yes,
transaction.
come on in.
I hate this.
All the two of you.
I just love hanging out. And if you seem fun enough that you want to hang out, we have one thing in common. Let's find more.
Are we sure that Kyle is in LA and not the mirror world?
Fucking dork. So the waitress sits down next to them, revealing that actually her and the other people in the bar are those demons they're trailing.
Yeah.
So she addresses Dean by name and threatens to drag him back to hell after he smartmouths her. He trumps her, pointing out that obviously something with a lot of juice wants him in the play.
Yeah.
And since neither of them knows what that is, an underling like her wouldn't dare touch him unless she's ready to be smited.
Yeah.
And then he does a thing that I kind of hate, which he slaps her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it, but I
likes it.
didn't love that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was me, I'd love it, but I didn't like seeing that.
Yeah.
And she doesn't retaliate.
Yeah.
He says, that's what I thought. The demon backs down and Dean pays for the pie.
Oh, Dean loves pie.
Yeah, it's true. As he and his brother leave quickly, I do like when they get outside and they're like, oh man, that was really close.
Go.
Although Sam wants to stay and slay the demons, Dean points out that place was full of them and that they only have one knife between them. Sam says, yeah, when you were gone, I was killing a lot more than just those. It's sort of suggesting it's like, oh, I can get rid of some.
Yeah.
fucking
Do you want to see me John Wick some demons?
Yeah. But it's and then we get basically later that night, we see Sam sneaking out of their motel room and after Dean falls asleep and heading out in the Impala somewhere.
Yeah.
Dean wakes up and the TV switches on as it did in the gas station and at Pamela's seance. He arms himself. The piercing sound that he heard at the gas station begins and intensifies as he is floored. Bobby bursts in just as all the glass in the room shatters. Dean and Bobby are now on the road. Dean calls Sam and sternly asks him what he's doing. Sam is surveilling the diner but lies and says that he just went to get a burger because he couldn't sleep. He asks Dean what he's doing and he lies and tells him that he and Bobby are just going out for some beers. Oh, God, these boys.
Just talk to each other,
I know.
man. Come on, boys.
Dean tries to persuade Bobby that they need to try to summon the being that is haunting them. Sam goes into the diner and finds one of the demon vessels lying dead, and his eyes are burned out.
Yeah, fucked up.
The possessed waitress attacks Sam. Her eyes are also gone, and she screams that everyone is going to die. It's a fucked up moment.
It's crazy.
The whole sequence is pretty wild.
Sam asks what it was that she saw, but the demon refuses to answer. Sam lifts a hand and silently exorcises the demon. The host dies in the process.
So that's
So
his
cool.
superpower thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've never seen it in this
we haven't
way.
seen it before this episode, but
We've seen him move shit around and stuff, but
this
never
is
like
like
this.
a
Okay,
level
so this
of
is like a new thing.
Yeah.
this is like a level of mastery of his abilities that has happened off screen.
Yes, we had no idea. As he finishes, the girl who was in his hotel room earlier enters. It's Ruby in a new body.
Yeah.
The demon from the previous season who's been trying to help Sam and was trying to convince him to use his abilities clearly now has been doing it the whole time.
Yeah.
She and Sam had performed an act when Dean and Bobby arrived at the hotel room earlier, as if she was some girl he picked up. But Sam has been working with her for some time, developing his powers.
Yeah. And Ruby, now the host of Ruby, played by Jared's wife.
So, I mean, now wife. Yes.
Now wife, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the time,
They, I guess, meet
This
doing
is-
this, right?
this is
so
where
this guy is married to the lady who plays Ruby.
yeah, they start dating in this
Sam
like,
and her.
this episode. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do we know her?
No, she's a brand new
No.
character.
Oh, so when you saw her as the cutie in there,
No
that was like
idea.
a setup.
Because Ruby the
wasn't
demon is
sure.
in a different body last season.
And
Yeah.
then which one? So Ruby is. I'm trying to remember. Do I know
Ruby last season was
you never got to meet her.
You
I
might
don't
not have gotten to meet her, but is it in the then montage? It was Katie Cassidy,
Yes.
who is from Arrow. That was Ruby last season.
Yeah, with the
and-
blonde hair.
Yeah.
She
Gotcha. Okay, so now she's in this, and
Yeah.
she's also a psychic, or she's a demon, or
she's a
a
demon.
demon.
Yeah,
But she's a demon
So-
she's a demon that does not want to play the game of like the demon horde. She has her own agenda and she wants to help the boys.
yeah.
Okay, and then side question from there. This is good. See, this is the like actually shit I need that that is very helpful. Are Sam and her, because this was the other thing I thought watching it, when she's like, does he know that I'm training you, or that you're studying this stuff? And I was like, oh, that's what's going on here. Like we were for a minute, it's like, he's got a girlfriend and they're doing stuff, and instead it's like, never mind, they have a platonic relationship and she's teaching him psychic powers.
Classic Sam.
Yeah, there's no way that Sam would have a sexy relationship like that. He can't be Dean as much as he wants to be.
No.
He's fucking full of embroidered white shirts and iPod.
That's right.
They really took the dig with the music too. Like it was pretty fun to just have all of it. Like just the show's really dunking on Sam, pretty aggressively for a minute there.
It's true.
Also, did all of us miss iPods for a minute?
Oh, I
Just
still
saying.
miss iPods all the time.
I don't think
Same.
I wasn't like rich or cool enough to have them when they first like came out. Like I missed
I didn't
that
have
kind
one
of
until
generation.
I had like the third or fourth gen one.
I don't think I
was
had
I'll
one
never
un-
give up CDs.
I don't think I had one at all until the mini or the nano or whatever it was.
See,
at the
I
time.
dated a rich girl, and her father bought me one for Christmas.
Wow.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was awesome. I had a string of like only dating rich girls for a while. It was awesome.
Okay.
Look,
No, I mean
Like
he's
on-
not wrong.
Like on purpose or just coincidentally?
I would say 50-50.
Sure, yeah.
They were coincidentally on purpose. So they talk about Dean and how he could have come back. Sam demands that she tell him what's going on in this town. Ruby claims that she doesn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
No demon has the power to pull a human soul out of hell and put it back in its body that easily.
I guess without a deal.
Yes.
Because that
Exactly.
we've seen that happen a bunch of times.
Yes, but
Yeah.
not like this,
Yeah,
right? They then discuss what they're going to say to Dean about what they've been doing for the past few months. Fucking.
Can I tell Dean that we've been fucking,
And she
even
will
though we
never
clearly
believe
have
it.
not?
Yeah. Sam tells Ruby that he will tell Dean what he has been doing.
I like the idea. She's like, he'll never believe it. Besides, I've been sleeping with him on the side for like 3 days now. Like somehow Dean is like still putting in work even when he's supposed to be solving mysteries.
She's like, yeah, I've
He's
been
just having
fuck-
lots of sex off camera.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the best way to watch the show is just to assume when you haven't been seeing Dean, he's been fucking.
Yes.
It would be funny if like the last chunk of the montage of him coming back to life is he like goes to the place, gets the food, gets a car, and then stops at like a diner, hooks up with a waitress, and then he's ready to go. Like, he's back to fully charged.
Then he calls Bobby.
Why do you think he got the porn? Because he needed to like, bust a
Oh,
few
you're
out.
right. Never mind. I forgot the show did legitimately deal with the thing we're joking about.
One of the most
That-
important things to Dean: car, food, jerking it.
Yeah.
Like man, they literally thought of everything. Like
This is
just
what the
when I
show's
think-
so good about.
Just when I think I found a single flaw in any of Supernatural, they're just like, you fool.
We always answer the question. So Sam says to Ruby that he'll tell Dean when he finds the right moment, which is there's never going to be.
That's
a
a
right
convenient way to say I'm a big old fucking coward.
Moment. She points out that he will find out, and if he doesn't find out from Sam, he's gonna be really pissed.
I know. I know they built like kind of a weird sort of detente thing through the last season, but it is funny seeing Ruby the demon being like, you should really open up to your brother.
Yeah, what does that say when the demon?
I know, it's like, how wrong are you as a person when the demon training you to use your demonic powers is like, you guys don't talk you don't communicate very well.
Sam,
communication really could change things for you guys.
Yeah. In hell we have these round table things, and it really helps everybody get shit off their chest.
You start with an I feel statement.
I feel the stinging barbs of 1,000,000 powerful flames.
And I feel that Sam is well aware that Dean will be pissed anyways. He knows, though, that Dean is so hard-headed about this psychic thing that he'll only try to stop him. Which really just means he's not going to tell him, and he's just going to keep lying. Sam believes that his powers are saving humans, and he feels good about that, even though he doesn't completely trust Ruby and tells her so.
Yeah.
So he does decide that he wants to keep going on with their covert activities. Meanwhile, we go back to Dean and Bobby, who are in an abandoned barn, gearing up for a summoning ritual. Although Bobby has persistently declared that this is a bad idea.
Oh, I'm so excited. The barn!
There are talismans and symbols sort of all over this entire barn. And Bobby even says, like, this is basically everything he could ever
because they don't even know
with.
what they're trying to summon. Yeah, exactly.
One of the talismans and symbols that Bobby draws to try to trap this being is Jacob Karn's talisman from Hookman, which is kind of cool.
Oh, interesting. That's fun.
So
that's a fun callback.
So they begin their seance, and it kind of doesn't really do anything.
No.
And they sort of wait around for a while. But suddenly everything starts shaking in the entire barn.
Yeah.
Lights are fucking exploding.
It's dope.
It's just getting darker and darker. The fucking door to the barn breaks open.
Yep.
And somebody walks in and they're dressed like John Constantine from DC's
Just
Vertigo.
very deliberate.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
is
yeah.
definitely this guy's serving Constantine energy almost a little too hard.
Oh, no.
It's
completely
100% like the choice.
Yeah. Definitely intentional. So he comes in with his trench coat. He walks.
I feel like, sorry, sidebar real quick. Constantine is slowly becoming my version of Batman, where we've gotten some interpretations and I like what they've done, but then they put it in other things and I'm just like, just give me more of the actual thing. Don't give me a thing that looks like it. I don't care. Just give me the one, and put a bunch of different people in it. Like,
you need to watch Legends of Tomorrow, though, because I think you really like him on there.
which one's that? That's the CW one?
Yeah. It's the best
he's on
CW
that, right?
show, I
He
think.
is. Yeah, he comes in season 4 or
Yeah.
something.
My dad liked the show he had solo. Is that worth seeking out? Is
It's
that
actually
on
I would
HBO Max?
argue that kind of like Supernatural, it's crazy it was on network TV.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, my dad was a big champ, and then it went away. And
It only had one season. It's an NBC show. It's like when you say NBC
Well, that's in that
Constantine,
Hannibal
you go,
era where NBC was like, we're a fucking butcher shop all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I actually think that one season of Constantine on NBC falls into this Supernatural thing of oh shit, it's pretty good. Like
the 2 DC shows that I want. I'm sorry, I'm doing your wrong podcast right now.
No, that's fine.
Like the 2 DC shows that I have genuine interest in are both one didn't go a second season and are the most difficult to find because it's like I want to watch Swamp Thing and Constantine. And they're like, no, don't you want to watch Arrow?
No.
I was like, no, that's not at all what I want. Like, I want Constantine and Swamp Thing because they're both right in my vein and they seem really cool. And they're like, no, watch Arrow.
You have failed this streaming service.
So this Castiel walks directly through a devil's trap and is completely unharmed when Bobby and Dean start shooting him with rock salt.
It's amazing.
Dean asks who he is, and the man says, "I'm the one who gripped you tight and raised you from perdition."
Chills.
Ah! Kyle.
that is like literally that is like a line of dialogue that is maybe one of the most iconic ones of the show.
Yes.
Okay. It's funny because to me he's just like a fun man in a suit
I
who had
know.
those cool shadow wings and a really great shot.
Oh, I love
And
that
I'm just
effect
like,
of the shadow wings.
Well, because he's just
Well,
basically
like it's like you can't perceive them, but enough other stuff is happening that's like this is like a little glimpse of what it would be, kind of thing.
Did you guys see the movie Legion, which is not
Yes.
great,
Yes.
but where
I
Vision
kinda
is an
liked it.
angel? I genuinely think that movie rips.
I
It's
kinda
really
loved it.
fun, but
I watched
like,
it in theaters and I thought it was great.
and so this he has a little bit of he was giving me Paul Bettany energy
Yeah.
because like they both kind of have that like
Yeah.
I'm handsome and an angel.
I love any sort of like Assault on Precinct 13 vibes from stuff.
Oh
like-
yes. Oh no. If you people are listening and haven't seen Legion, it is a real like hidden gem. Like that
So-
is a solid flick.
Kyle, when you go back in 7 years, they do an episode like that last season.
What? There's
Yes.
a standoff app?
Yes.
There is. Yeah, it's
That's-
wild.
Standoff, the numbers are looking bad. We got a little time for reflection, and then a big standoff is maybe my favorite genre outside of
So-
people put their differences aside to win a game.
Well, and
Yeah.
high school fun. But let me just pitch you this. So they basically, the FBI has been chasing them for 2 seasons because they're like, you guys keep killing people and supernatural stuff doesn't exist in this world. So why are you, we need to capture you, right? And they've been using fake credit cards and all this stuff. So the FBI is sort of like a subplot for season 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
So they finally catch them. They put them in prison. And then at that same moment, the demons go, oh no, they're caught. It's time for us to come get you. So they have to convince the police in this station that demons and stuff are real and then protect them as hordes of
And
demons.
then the
come
demons
after
lay
them.
siege to this police
Yeah.
station.
That sounds awesome.
It's
That
even
sounds
better.
So legitimately great. Like my first thought was like, why isn't that everything?
It's an incredible episode.
It's-
That's in season 3. When you eventually go back, that's season
When
3,
we hit
episode
season
12.
7,
I
that's
think.
straight where I'm going.
Yeah, you should. It's
Because
such a-
even like Game of Thrones, the fact they made it a 2-parter, so you got a whole episode that was just the night before, which is like the best part, where everybody's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be dead by dawn," so like I can sort of make one last make good. Like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
so fucking rad. Oh, I love that. So
It's the best.
So Dean's response to raising him tight and pulling him from perdition is that he's
gripping him tight and raising him from perdition.
Whatever.
Easy now.
is he then stabs him with Ruby's knife, the demon knife,
Yeah.
and it has no
It
effect.
doesn't do shit.
Bobby then tries to attack him from behind, and the man grabs the thing that he's hitting him with, and it just touches Bobby's head, and he just collapses.
Yeah.
Fucking insane. And then he basically goes, you and I need to talk in private, and looks at Bobby on the ground unconscious.
Yeah.
Just so fucking rad.
And you're genuinely terrified for a second because you're like, shit, did he just kill Bobby?
Yeah.
Because like,
Yeah.
again, this show, you are genuinely concerned when characters die sometimes because you're just
Yeah.
like, well, even if he comes back, that's a real like tough move here for a second.
Look, and this show is relentless when they get rid of characters. They just fucking throw characters aside left and right like Walking
Brutal.
Dead.
It's
yeah.
true.
So Dean doesn't believe him as Castiel criticizes his lack of faith. Castiel reveals a pair of shadowy angel wings that have emerged briefly from his back.
So good.
Though surprised at this, Dean angrily berates him for burning Pamela's eyes out. He's like, if you're a fucking angel, like good angeling when you fucking burn
Which
that lady's
is
eyes
a
out.
very classic Dean thing we've talked about in other episodes of the show, where Dean is like, no, I know demons in hell exist. Angels do not.
There's no way.
There's no way, because how does all this bad shit keep happening? It's like that classic, how
Yeah.
could God
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
As Castiel states that his true form can be overwhelming for humans and that he did warn her to turn back. I love his just like nonchalantness about this. It's like, yeah, that was bad. I wish that hadn't happened.
Because he's like
but-
fucking Spock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also explains that he tried on 2 occasions to talk to Dean in his true voice, which was the loud, piercing noises that Dean had heard. He says that certain people can hear him. However, Dean turned out not to be one of them. So Castiel has now taken control of a vessel, a willing human host who desired to serve heaven.
Yeah.
Dean asks why an angel would rescue him from hell. Castiel slowly approaches him, staring into his eyes intensely, and says, "You don't think you're deserving of being saved?"
Oh my God. Oh, this is the prompt that launched 1,000 tumblers.
Dean winces, then asks him again why he did it.
Yeah.
Castiel tells him that he saved him from hell on God's command, and they have work to do.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And that is the end of
strong
the episode.
One. they bang out good premieres.
Oh, it's so
I have
good.
no reference point beyond that, but I think they do.
Fuck yes.
So that
I
was
like
the end.
this one, I think, the best out of the three.
Fair.
Yeah.
Absolutely fair. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what
correct
the
to feel.
middle one was. Oh, that was the drinking. And
Last
killing
season was the
couple,
Drano
yeah.
and the Seven Deadly
Drano.
Sins thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. And then the one before that
season
was the
before-
hospital.
Yeah, it was the
So
hospital.
I think
with
I've liked
the
each
dad,
one more. Like, the further we get from Dad, the more I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if we talked about this last season at all, or if you know, but this season, the previous season lined up with the writer's strike. So, which is why the last season was only 16 episodes rather than 22. And basically the writer's strike ended right before the last 4 episodes of the previous season. So by the time that they actually went back to film those 4 episodes of the previous season, they were actually already given an early renewal for this season,
Right.
which is really great because they basically had an opportunity to break stories right away. So like they were actually a little bit ahead of the game coming into this season. The attitude in the writer's room, though, was that season 4 was going to be the last season.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is like they also were like, we got to end season. We got to end season 2 as if we don't get another season.
Yep.
And then, like, it does seem like a kind of consistent thought process.
But as we figured,
the season premieres, that's part of the fun of it. Is this one more than even so, but each one of them, because I came in on 2, there is a little bit of an energy of like, we're fucking back, and that was close.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. There was a ton of fun because this is when the last season's when they moved from the WB to CW, and there's all of this like financial issues and like politically through in the network, they basically like were not happy with the show, and there was a ton of like turmoil going on.
Well, but it was there's a crazy thing where like the showrunner walked into the network and said like, I know you guys are back and forth, but I need you to understand we are bringing in Castiel. And they were like, well, why didn't you tell us? Like, here's 5 more seasons. Why didn't you say that you were bringing the fire?
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
they already knew who Castiel is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, you know, they probably didn't know it at the time, and I'm not spoiling anything, but like Castiel is like
the change of the show.
the change of the show. It's a turning point for the show, and he is a main cast member.
He's their 7 of 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, if
Yes.
we're talking about
Like, that's
yeah.
In genre TV, like there's those handful of characters who show up who like fundamentally correct a ship, you know, and
Yes.
so I imagine this might be an interesting because like 7 of 9 to me is always like that great. It's like replacing like getting to Boxleitner in Babylon 5, where you're like, this almost works. We got to get a guy from Tron, and this will really all tie together.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It is. Castiel is the 7 of 9. I've never thought of it that way, but that's 100%
Yeah.
what's happening.
Absolutely.
It's a little, although I don't know why on this show they were like, we got to bring it a little more sexy.
You know what the show's
You
missing?
know what this show needs? A hot guy.
Oh man, put Castiel in that 7 of 9 unitard.
I mean, look, like it is absolutely the energy. Yeah,
It is.
that it's. But yeah, so that was the episode.
Holy shit.
Kyle, tell me about.
Do you think the casting for Supernatural was just an ad that said "Hot Boys Wanted"?
Could be.
I mean, yeah.
I thought that was going to go over way better, and you guys really earnestly looked at each other like you were going to give a real thought about it.
Here's the reason why, though, is because. It's because the reason why we did that is because the literal advertisement for the show for the first season was hot guys, hot show, and that's it. So
Wait, really?
Yes.
So the advertising campaign on the show has just been drunk since day one.
Yeah.
yes, that's the thing. Like, So you're not wrong. It
Sorry to
probably was.
undercut your joke, but reality already did that.
God, that's the dark part about this is occasionally I make a joke and you guys give me this look where they're just like, I know you think you're joking, but you've wandered into Truth Town.
That's the undercurrent for this entire series is that you're going to go, but what if and imagine, and we go, yeah.
And you guys are just like, Kyle, they did 15 seasons of this.
Yeah, they either did or they already did or they will. Like that's
exactly.
the answer for what your questions are always going to be. But let us know, give us a summation of your sort of thoughts on this entire episode and then a score out of 5, whatever's you'd like.
I loved this episode. This one felt the most what I really like about the last two is that even though they are premieres, they do not feel like they are like a kind of like contentless episode that's just laying track like a lot of things do.
God, I'd love Dean to lay some track on me.
And so like I'm still really enjoying the self-contained episodes thing because they also do such a good job of working the lore in and kind of threading that needle.
Mm-hmm.
And so this episode had some good action in it. It's the most likable I think Sam has been since I've begun, so maybe that shirt's doing some work, or maybe like the shirt being so bad makes him seem more likable by comparison, where it's like maybe this guy's not so bad, he's trapped in that shitty shirt. I think that like the kind of the psychic powers and the Ruby thing is kind of a fun twist. Like I think I also think Dean is a little less annoying post being dead. He's got a little bit less of that like angst bro vibe that he has. Like he's got a real like Ryan Phillippe kind of going a little bit in those first couple seasons.
Right.
And it feels like in this episode, especially like he's like, I don't know if like being in hell humbled him a little and made the character a little more tolerable, but he's got a little bit less of like posturing cool guy and a little bit more like I was tortured in hell energy. And it looks good on him.
Sure.
And so I think it's fun to see that, like, you know, a lot of shows, genre shows like this, if you are in third season, you're starting your fourth season, there is that sense of like, this is probably the end. Like we're a CW genre show. Like there's like, this is, we're on borrowed time. Like we're already like that 15-year-old dog where it's like, you know, we're just going to touch and go and see what happens.
Sure. Yeah.
But like,
there's no way we're going to go 10 more seasons.
Yeah, exactly. Like 11 from that point.
Yes.
Like 11 more seasons. Yeah. Like there is double the amount of seasons they still haven't done. And you're for sure sitting there prepping this going like, this is the premiere to potentially our last season, if not like the second to last. Like maybe if we do 5 years, that's a classic TV show, like a beloved genre TV show. 5 years is like a miracle run.
Yep.
Like 7 is like you're into like classic Star Trek series. You know, 7 is next gen.
Yep.
And to go literally more than double next gen ahead of you.
Yeah, they have more seasons than Frasier.
They actually have 3 times at least more seasons coming. They almost have 4 times more seasons coming than where they're at, and you can already say them going like, "Hey, we're having fun, but like let's just go for broke. Let's just say yes to everything."
Yeah,
because like and then they just had to continue to say yes to everything for 11 more years.
Yeah, it's wild.
And they jumped the fucking shark, pulling in a goddamn angel.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy,
and he's just on the rest of the ride, right?
Yeah.
But also for a show that is almost for a show that is almost always like thinking it's going to be canceled. The restraint that it takes us until season 4 to get an angel in the show about demons and hell.
See, but I don't even think it's restraint. I think that they're like, guys, we got that season, which means we need more ideas. So we have been fighting the devil. What is a thing we could fight now? And they're like, well, angels are a thing. And they're like, guys, we just bought ourselves at least 3 more seasons.
I mean, that's a fair point too.
And then we will come back and we will do that unpopular season where we fight the Buddha, and then we'll get canceled.
Surprisingly, not the Buddha, but yes.
But yes, there is one of those.
Oh, you mean because that would be a terrible thing to try to work into the world of the show?
I mean, they surprisingly never did Buddha at all. But yes.
That's true. There's a few things.
Do they do round the world things?
Yes.
Here's the thing. there's a couple of things the show never does.
Yes.
And for all the Bible and stuff in this show, they never touch Jesus.
No.
You know, they don't touch Jesus, but like Dean never punches Moses.
No.
Like they don't do shit like that. But
See, and I love that because that's what you want. You want more of those weird offshoot codex versions of it. Again, I'll just call it Constantine shit because that's really, I can give it other names or I can call it what I actually think of it as.
I mean,
and this show calls their fucking play by pulling in.
I mean, this is the thing. The show recognizes that they're basically like a Constantine show, and they're like, we have a
the
Constantine.
Hardy Boys were Constantine.
Yes, and that's exactly what. And then they're just like, so should
we got away with this? Should we just pull in Constantine?
Should we just bring in a guy that dresses exactly like John Constantine? And they're like, yep.
Let's just see if someone says something.
It's pretty cool. It's a fucking like that's a baller move.
Yeah,
I'm excited in a few years to go back and listen to the rad about this show that we did because I have no idea what is happening in the episode, but it sounds fun. And to have it then now have some understanding, I do look forward to at some point hearing some shit and go like, oh man, I had no idea what that meant.
You go back to listen to old Dr. DC episodes and
it's true,
and
actually.
Reed gets a lot of that.
Yeah, where I'm like, oh fuck, Richard was trying to tell me the whole time.
I'm always been here. So Kyle, what is your ranking?
Out of 5 whatevers.
I'm gonna give this one a 5. Like this one, all killer, no filler on this bad boy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It
5
never
out of-
slowed and I never got bored. Like the 2 has a couple of boring parts.
Sure.
Like but this one just bangs it out and gets away.
So is it 5 out of 5 white embroidered shirts?
Yes.
I agree, obviously, with like all the sort of sentiments like Kyle said.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to circle back to mention the stuff that we talked about like how hard this episode goes, like the breaking glass, the burning eyes, the like all that like imagery, and the idea of like scaling up where it's like you thought demons were tough, we don't even know what the fuck this thing is, and then when you meet it, you're like, oh, it's an angel, and it just like touches Bobby, and you're like, is Bobby dead? You're like all of they shoot it, none of their sigils or like rituals work. The demon knife, which was like previously
the biggest thing they had,
the biggest weapon they had, that and the Colt was like, that didn't do shit. It's like, oh fuck, like these guys are out of their league.
That's good escalation, on a thing like this. It's just all of a sudden it's like, cool, nothing you have and have been successful with. But I feel like that's also a thing you got to do seasons in because you got to establish that these weapons are useful.
But the other thing that I like about it, though, is that the show to this point has established that, like, in a world of monsters and demons and things, there is no proof angels exist, to the point that even demons are like, we don't know how Dean got out of hell. We don't know what's burning our eyes out. Ah! Like, the demons are, like, fucking freaking out. And so I love not only the power scale escalation, but also it's like angels do not deal with the world. The fact that they are here and that they went to the trouble of getting Dean out of hell is like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like there's something so fucking cool about that. And everything about this episode is just like, it's crazy to go back to this episode. The gripped you tight, raised you from, you're like, oh my God, the magic.
Yeah.
It's what a cool entrance for Castiel. What a cool setup for the season. What a cool, like, what has happened between last season and this season with Sam and his powers and Dean having experienced hell and he's come out like a different character. The game has changed. It really is a different show now starting, and that's cool shit. I'm gonna give this 5 handprints on my shoulder.
Oh yes. I mean, I could make that happen.
Easy.
I have the art. I could adjust.
Should I get that tattooed on my?
Yes, you should. Life, art imitating life, life imitating art. So, what's crazy about this episode is that fucking nothing happens. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, there are no real battles. There's no
not like
real
one
monster
stake. It's not like we have to stop this thing in this town. Or
this whole episode is a fucking setup, and it doesn't feel that way.
It's true.
Literally,
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, like it does the season opener, and it doesn't feel like you're getting set up. You're just like,
Well,
what?
because it still gives you a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
It's sending all that information. But to me, like most shows now, instead of the story having a beginning, a middle, and end, just nothing happens, but it's just a bunch of scenes where people bullshit around and go like, eventually the show will be good.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
And that's what's incredible about it is that they pull it off. And like you've got fucking hot seance lady who gets fucking blinded. Like,
Oh man.
you get
Yeah.
like demons who like previous were the scariest thing this show had, and they immediately get taken down to the bottom of the pool. Like,
I mean, demons are literally like fish in a barrel.
they fucking
in this.
he
Yeah.
slaps them. It's like they literally show you how everything has changed.
Yeah, the power dynamic has shifted.
It's completely shifted by letting them slap them. Like, and I get that's probably what the intention was. I still don't love the slap because it's
Still
just
not great.
Yeah, I mean, we could have found a different way to do
Not
that.
great optics.
no. It'd been great if it was like me there and he just slapped me, and then that was how the
Yeah.
show went.
Or if you need a scumbag character to slap a woman in your episode, bring back
Richie,
Richie.
yeah. Oh god,
back
Kyle's
Richie.
gonna love Richie. Yeah, we have a scumbag hunter. It's
All right.
one great episode. So, I mean, from that to the fact that you actually see character development in just the fact that it's been a few months and one character went through hell and one sort of felt like they went through hell. I
Right.
think that like you're automatically seeing the adjustment in these characters from somebody who didn't watch the last entire season and is just like, oh, I can notice a difference.
Sure, yeah,
that
yeah.
in itself is monumental. And we get this introduction of this character and it doesn't feel like a fucking like a dog with a backwards hat and a surfboard. Like
Yes.
it's not suds like it. And I think that's really important because it's like, we're going to introduce this character and they're going to be terrifying. And now we open this door because prior it's like we've hinted at the larger world, right? And like how big this sort of like how far down the rabbit hole does it go, right?
Yeah,
We have in demons and we've sort of hinted at the idea of something larger, but we never really fully got proof. And now it's like, oh, angels exist, which means heavens exist. Does God exist? Like, how big does this actually get? How much more are there that we aren't aware of?
Why are you here now?
Yes.
Yeah.
It brings out so many fucking questions that makes the sort of like the limitlessness of the series just go on forever. Like that's the thing that I think it does is it just sort of like drops a small bit of oil in a pan of water and sees what happens. Like, and I think that's what gets me so excited. It's like, oh, there's fucking Castiel, which is a character from the Bible. What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing that like it just blew me away the first time that I saw this. It was just like, if this, then what?
Yeah.
And what does this mean for the rest of the series? What does this mean for like their intention? Because now what are the guys more important than we thought they were?
Yeah.
Not
So-
Dean, just Dean.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Not with that fucking shirt. So I, of course, am going to give this 5 out of a possible 5 classic Generation 1 iPods.
Nice.
Nice.
Holy shit!
Can't believe it.
I can't believe we did it. I can't wait to talk to you later on this year about the next season.
Yeah, we'll see you in 6 months. Yeah.
5 Alive. This one we got to speed up because of the 16 episodes. I'm gonna really miss you guys for a full 22.
I know we got you
Yeah.
3 times last year, so
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
yeah, it's fucking awesome. So, but we get to this
I would throw out, if you guys don't get a guess, the only one that I've almost watched is the Scooby-Doo episode, which I believe is in like season 13.
Yeah,
I
it's-
call my shot now.
I think we could break the cycle for that. Yeah.
yeah. Though our listeners have definitely
I
wanted
don't
you for
mean
more.
break. I don't mean break the cycle. I mean like when we get there, you'll just get a 2 of me in a season.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
5 years from now.
I don't know if your brain could handle seeing 2 episodes from a single season, but
Again, want to see many
eyes.
episodes from
Yes.
the
Yeah,
season.
my eyes will burn out of my skull if Kyle is on too many episodes.
Kyle, let people know where they can find you online and all the great stuff you got going on.
Yeah, I'm at Kyle Clark on the or Kyle Clark is rad on the Twitter and
There it is.
Instagram.
Wow, look at the place where you're active on now. Suddenly,
Yeah, I'm working on it. I need to get some artwork scanned because I'm going to try to do some of that.
whoa!
But,
Ooh.
and so let's.
I've got
see.
some artwork you could scan too.
No, we're not scanning that artwork.
I have a podcast called This Is Rad that is a lot of fun. People come and talk about things they like for quite a while.
I was recently on it.
Yeah, you were. And we talked about maybe my favorite now title we've ever done, which is Youth-Oriented Canadian Television 1992 to 2007.
Yeah. It's so specific.
Thoughts, Reed?
Oh, I mean, I have
listened to
I
it.
have thoughts. Let's just make this the quick correction segment.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Richard said that CTV was the one that owned Much Music and had the truck busting out of the building. That was actually City TV, a more localized network. Also, Breaker High doesn't take place on a cruise ship. It takes place on a icebreaker. It's Breaker High, God damn it.
Oh.
It looked like a
that
cruise
makes
ship and all the cuts between.
But it wasn't. But yeah, so things like this you get on our show. It's a very fun loose show about liking things.
Yeah.
And then I have a show called Everything Is Scary that is about horror movies that I do with Jen Saunderson and Amy Drolet, and that's been a fun one. And then I have a comedy album called I'm a Person. It's out on iTunes and Apple Music and shit like that. I have a comic book where there's an open beta for it on Gumroad, Search Tales from an Analog Future. I should stop plugging that one for a second. It should turn around. The thing I'll really actually plug, though, is I did a Halloween special for my podcast. I do it every year. And I write a bunch of original stories this year. I had people read them. There's a fun kind of comedy bang bang light wrap around to it. And I wrap the plot of the episode at the end like a 90s movie. I really like
so
that.
good.
So it's just on This Is Rad. If you go and check that out, it's I think it's really good. So yeah, forget all my other shit. Like don't go listen to the records of the podcast. Just that part.
And really just the end for that rap, because that rap is great.
Nah, the stories I need you to listen to. If you don't listen to the stories and just the rap, I'm gonna be honest, we have some serious issues.
This is the most I've ever seen you want something, which is a very weird thing.
Well, it's because it's the one of the couple of things I care about. Like the rest of it, I'm just sort of like doing because I have to be alive or whatever. But then like writing, I actually care about.
Jesus, that is maybe too real.
Hey, listeners!
I'm doing it because I have to be alive. Good Lord.
Hey, listeners, pull Kyle away from the edge and listen to that episode. He's looking into that dark void.
I mean, that's just honest, though. This is not new. This is not a cry for help. This is a thing 12-year-old Kyle figured out and we just never look back.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree. We all have to be alive, but I'm not coming out here just saying it.
If anything, you're lamenting about it, but...
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, it's just a truth that I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
it's funny because like you keep saying it and I keep going like, I don't know why that's the part he's focusing on. The part that you focus on is the writing, not the having to be alive.
Well, I mean, that probably says something
positive
about me.
Only through that you want to be alive.
Yeah, I mean, like,
that's not true.
Yeah, not put a single activity's value entirely around it like it's on a razor's edge.
We all have to be alive. I just accept that.
I get to be alive. I'm really happy about it.
Get to?
Yeah.
You fucking optimist.
This is great.
But yeah, so this is
I got my friends around a table and we're talking about a podcast. This is great.
Yeah. But yeah, so check that out. Beyond that, check out Dr. DC, the podcast. I'm on their Patreon soon.
Yeah. You just were.
Yep.
You
and
Vern.
Kyle is on a bunch of main feed episodes of Dr. DC.
Yeah, of your
check those
beloved
out.
Award-winning show where I've definitely said words like balls and butt face.
Oh my God. The chant of our show is just the word cuck, I think. So.
Yeah. A fucking local newspaper printed a legislative tribute about us this week.
We came up with a character whose like product they sell is we came up with a bit called with no context is called Slam Bradley's period wipes. And we won a Canadian podcast award.
Well, do you guys remember that before this, when this show and your other show were in competition for what I assume was a Juno Award?
Both this Ghostfacers Ghostfacers and Dr. DC were up for outstanding comedy series. That I actually think we split the vote on. I think we could have taken
absolutely.
it.
You guys pulled a Sigourney Weaver for sure.
Yeah.
So, and we didn't won that. Instead, it won outstanding art series.
And I just feel so bad for all the podcasts about like real books.
like Rembrandt, like miniseries.
Oh God, you poor art series.
I love that Reed said books and Richard named an artist.
Yeah,
I was talking about art, which is the thing that.
Well, I'm impressed that that Rembrandt to you means art and not the people that sang the Friends theme.
That's not what I was talking about. That's not art to me.
What? I was listening to some song recently, and I was like, "This song just sounds like it could be written by the Rembrandts." It was beloved classic rock song.
So
I'm not really doing this bit justice.
So what's great is Alaska is pretty close to us, and there's a city that's basically just a cruise ship port. And I like going there because its only purpose is to basically service like fat Americans and like people who like just want that cruise ship life and want to like go into this weird small port. Yeah. And what's better is that the cruise ship owns a lot of the businesses that are there. And one of my favorite places to go there is this bar that is just owned by the cruise ship. And all of the music in there is what I would describe as like somebody like not from America trying to create an American playlist. So the music is like the Friends theme song. And
it's like watching a play about a bar in America. Yeah.
It's so much so that my wife has created an actual playlist just called like America with a question mark. It's just songs we heard at that bar.
Oh, that rules so hard.
It's the best.
Like
so, if you want to reach out to us about your feelings about this episode, give us your ranking, or maybe just talk to us online. We can do that through a bunch of different ways, including our email.
Yeah, ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com.
And of course, we are on all of the social media platforms.
We are at GhostfacersPod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
We, of course, want you to subscribe every week so you can get this automatically into your feed. And while you're there, why don't you give us a 5-star review?
Why don't you? Why don't you?
Yeah, why don't you? Why won't you?
Grip us tight and raise us from review perdition.
So make sure that you do that. Either if it's on the Apple Podcast platform, we'll definitely get those. If it's anywhere else, just take a snapshot and DM us. Drop in our DMs.
Yeah, slide right in.
Yeah, we want those, and we'll read them on the show. And if you want to support the show even more, we have merch. You can buy it at ghostfacerspodcaststore.com.
Yeah.
And if you're continuing
Can we just make a t-shirt with the handprint on the...
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. If you want to continue the support train you're running on us, listen to that podcast that we already talked about, Dr. DC.
Yeah, check it out. It's all about DC Comics. It's a ton of fun.
All right. That is it for this week. Say goodbye, Kyle.
Goodbye, Kyle.
Say goodbye, bitch.
Jerk.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.